Alright, I'm all set up to do a belt demonstration with the inserted belt here, and this one is also really nice because you can, I don't have much fuel in here at all, but you can use the fuel to just squeeze right on top of your felt and fill it up there, and that takes a lot of fuel. I'm not going to use all of it. That sucker would burn forever with all that fuel, so I'm just going to squirt a bunch on there. And there's no preheating involved with man, this thing is getting, you can do lighter. There's no preheating involved with that really. Now this is without the simmer top. This is the simmer top that I currently have. I think Jarrett's making a new one because when he built this simmer top, he built it for one of his earlier stoves before he made some modifications to this. And he didn't have a new simmer top made yet, but I think he actually built a new one, and he said he was going to send it to me, so I'll be looking forward to seeing that. I'll show you how it works on here though, with the current simmer top. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it looks with the pot underneath of it. I'm sorry, with it underneath of the pot. It looks similar to the alcohol. Now I seem to have some fuel dripping out of this thread again, so I'm dripping down below here. I think that when I squeeze this, and I'm going to have to ask Jarrett if he's got any suggestions on this, when I squeeze this and it comes back off, a little bit lands on that ledge. And that ledge just happens to be on the same ledge as these. And maybe I'm just not screwing them in all the way. And that's part of my problem. I'll check into that and see. But you can see that it's a nice stove. It works really well. It's a good boil. That's a lot of water. Yeah, I'm back. Had a little bit of a spill there with my 2 cups of water. So I cleaned it up, knocked the pot off. Can't wait to see that in the video. That'll be interesting to see what I actually did to knock that over. Luckily it was just the water. It does show a good point that we are all a little bit of klutzy people, and you can spill things real easy, which is why the felt option is such a unique and nice option, because should this tip over, yes, the felt will roll out and the fire will be there where the felt is, but it won't be spilled all over the table like the water just was there. So for safety reasons, there's always that felt option, which burns really nice, as you can see here. We're 50 seconds into this video and I'm having trouble here, wobbling things all over the place. A minute into the video, not quite, and we'll see how long it takes to boil something on this. I don't really know if I have the whole thing covered with fuel, but there we go, it is now. I like to use my grease pot as a cooking pot. It seems like a very simple pot to carry on a camping trip. A very inexpensive one to purchase. So that's why I like to use it. It's a thin aluminum metal. It doesn't weigh a lot. I can keep consistency in my cook times to get an idea of what compares to what with using the same pot all the time. So that's why I like to stay consistent with this. Now there are exceptions. Some people like to use the Heineken pot, which is a totally different thing to carry. So some people like to cook in their Snow Peak 600, Snow Peak 700 type pot, titanium pots, single wall pots, you know. I just, for my purpose, I always try and cook in the same pot to get a definite temperature adjustment from one stove to another. Get an idea how much fuel it's going to take to cook with a certain pot. I noticed that I tightened this down just a little bit. I was leaking out of here, running down the stove with fuel earlier. I haven't had that problem since I tightened it. I don't think that I had it screwed in all the way. I don't think that had anything to do with me spilling it earlier, but I think that I didn't have it screwed in all the way. And that's why it was coming down this thread here. So now that those are all tightened in good. And I didn't get out a wrench or pliers or anything. I just tightened it with my hand. You know. Torque 22 pound. No, I have no idea how tight it is. But as tight as I could go with my hand, so it wasn't loose. And I don't seem to be having that same problem anymore with the fluid, the alcohol, coming down the thread and running down to where the ground would be. That obviously would be an issue if you had fluid or fuel running down to the grass or ground if you're cooking on a flammable surface. So, just making sure those are tight in there. Solve the problem. I can hear we got a start of a boil coming here. Just a little bit. Running on there about 4 minutes. Yep, 4 minutes exactly. Well, 4 minutes since the beginning of the film. I don't know how quickly I put this on here when I started off. Look at it afterwards. Sounds like a rolling boil. No, it just sounds like it. It's not. It's funny how these things give you that sense they're boiling and you get that rumbling going on, and it's just little bitty bubbles. So that's a nice flame. I know Jarrett was saying he was having trouble getting the boil going on this, but I'm not sure what type of pot he was using. I'm literally just after 4 minutes here, and now I can hear it rolling. Just after 4 minutes and I've got a rolling boil. 4:40 according to the clock on the camera. However, I don't know if I put it on there when I started or if I started and then talked a little bit and then put it on. So I'll check the time. Not a long amount of time at all. And I just put fresh water in there and it was all cooled down. The stove was hot when I did that. So the stove had been running. I didn't shut it off when I spilled my 2 cups of water there earlier. So it was running, but the pot had cold water put in it, which chills it down instantaneously. So now one other thing I like to test is the simmer ring here. So I'm going to take that off, and obviously we're not going to test for a boil on the simmer ring, but we do want to see what the simmer ring does. And it's kind of hard to put on when it's flaming. It's better to shut it off, so I'm going to set it halfway and toss it in there. And it just doesn't work when you do it that way, so it's better to have it in there beforehand. Yeah, that's just, there it is, it's in. I'm going to use my pot handle here. Now I'll probably grab it and burn myself, but it's something to test with. And I got a lot of fuel on that thing by throwing it in like that. There we go. It does have some leakage of fuel around the edges where it doesn't completely close. I've noticed that it doesn't, but it does simmer. Now I'm holding my pot handle and burning myself. Smart move. Nice low flame though, I like that. Just a little flame there. I think I could even cut it down a little more, because that's starting to bring back on a little bit of a boil there. Just that quick. So even with the simmering on there, way down like that, and the water was already boiling, but there's still a lot of flame coming out there. So I'm gonna use my handle here and just get it down a little more, right down to where she's almost closed. Yeah, there's a gap along the side here, and I don't know if Jared's tested that thoroughly, but that gap has some kind of purpose, I would think. But that gap actually lets more flame out than you might want for a simmer ring. So I guess what happens is it gets so hot that it pressurizes. So yeah, we're still getting almost a full thing of fuel there. I mean, flame all the way up, and you can see the simmer ring is just about all the way closed there. So I'm going to close it up all the way just so we can see. I think that this gap section over here where it's actually cut out, and I'm not sure if the new version will have those cutouts like that, but that cutout is letting just as much fuel out as if it were all the way closed, because the fuel tends to burn up the edges anyway. So I'm going to put my boiling water back on there just to show you that even with it all the way closed, Jarrett, we still need to maybe close those little gaps on the side, because we're still getting, you know, good amount of flame there with it all the way closed on the simmer ring. So, and I want to take that off there, but that gets real hot, especially where the bolt is, because that bolt is, the bolt is, I think it's steel, not aluminum, but I'm using a pot handle to pick up something I should be using something else to carry. And you see what I'm talking about here? How there's a cutout right there, and then again, right there, there's a cutout. And those cutouts is where all that flame is coming out at. Now, I'm going to flip it over. Or not. No, not going to grab it yet. Not going to grab it yet. Too hot. I'm going to let it sit, and I'll show you later what I'm talking about. I'm going to try and stand it up. Okay, now maybe we can see. Now I'm going to zoom in and see if I can see it. And what I'm trying to point at is right there. From there, all the way around to there. That cutout right there. I think if that was gone, we wouldn't have so much flame, because all the flame, because it's becoming pressurized, even with it in there, with the felt in there, it's becoming pressurized. And this cutout is actually creating a flame. There's three of them. There's one on every side. I don't know if I can turn it while it's up like this, but there's one on every side. And those little cutouts right there too. And that cutout's becoming pressurized, so we have three torches, or not torches, I shouldn't say, flames shooting out of those as strong as if it was being pressurized, even if it's all the way closed. When it's open, it's not as pressurized, but then we're getting the pressurized, and that stays hot for a little bit of time because it's like literally right on the fire. So I'm going to zoom back out and we'll take a look here. So that shows the felt option a little bit. And I imagine that would probably still burn for a long time because I just kept shooting some fuel in there. In fact, I think I might be out of fuel. Nope. That's good. Shoot fuel everywhere. I am definitely out of fuel now. So let me just burn that for a little longer just for the fun of it. Get some more video of it burning. Now that I have fuel everywhere, it's probably light without a problem. Since I splashed fuel everywhere and I squeezed that really hard. That was kind of stupid. But I do like that it all burns right off really quick. And I do like how that works. The simmer ring may need a little adjustment. Alright, we're going to show you the propane or butane next. I don't think we've done that yet.